This is my morning coffee. I'm Brad DeLong. At the end of Jane Austen's famous novel Pride and Prejudice, set in the early 19th century among Britain's upper class just before the Battle of Waterloo by a couple years or so, at the end of the novel, the hero Fitzwilliam Darcy finally proposes marriage to the heroine Elizabeth Bennet and gets accepted. And Lizzie Bennet's mother goes absolutely berserk. Quote, "Good gracious, Lord bless me, only think, dear me, Mr. Darcy, who would have thought it, and is it really true? Oh, my sweetest Lizzie, how rich and how great you will be, what pin money, what jewels, what carriages you will have. Jane's marriage is nothing to it, nothing at all. I am so pleased, so happy, such a charming man, so handsome, so tall. Oh, my dear Lizzie, pray apologize for having disliked him so much before. I hope you will overlook it. Dear, dear Lizzie, a house in town, everything that is charming, 3 daughters married, 10,000 a year. Oh, Lord, what will become of me? 10,000 a year and very likely more. 'Tis as good as a lord and a special license. You must and shall be married by a special license." So how rich is Fitzwilliam Darcy anyway, in context? What does an income of £10,000 a year mean in the immediate last years of the Napoleonic Wars? I only have 3 answers. The first, he's very rich. He's certainly in the Forbes 400 of Napoleonic Britain. He's rich enough to be a celebrity. Second, figure that his £10,000 a year, figure that gave him the rough equivalent of the purchasing power of $300,000 per year today, although such comparisons are always hazardous to make given the extraordinarily shifts in relative prices we've seen since the start of the 19th century. For Fitzwilliam Darcy, skilled servants were dirt cheap, and expensive pieces of electronic equipment or air travel were totally non-existent. For us, expensive pieces of electronic equipment and air travel are dirt cheap, and skilled servants are almost completely unaffordable. So those are the first 2. A, Forbes 400. B, figure on 300,000 a year. The third, Darcy's £10,000 a year give him the relative social status of an income of $6 million a year today. That's the multiple of the average worker's earnings in the early 19th century that £10,000 was. If you apply the same multiple to the average earnings of an average worker in America today. More important, perhaps, Fitzwilliam Darcy doesn't have to work for his relative income of $6 million a year. The closest thing we have to him, figure him as a 30-something retired dot-com millionaire with wealth of $150 million or so. I'm Brad DeLong. This has been my morning coffee.